Good afternoon, everyone. This is LadyDragon speaking. It's Sunday, January 26th. It's 12:35 p.m. We're continuing with our keynotes today. Now we're going to talk about Keurig Dr. Pepper. I have no idea what their loyalty program, something of the sort. Bon, on va écouter ce keynote-là. Here we go.
Okay, welcome back to the Storytellers stage. Our next session explores how Keurig, Dr. Pepper, and EY are reinventing their customer loyalty programs. First up, please welcome Tom Edwards, EY America's Consumer AI Leader.
Woo. See a lot of friendly faces. All right. Hello, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. For those of you I don't know, my name is Tom Edwards. I'm with Ernst & Young. I'm our America's Consumer AI Solutions Leader. We'll just go with that. Over the last 25 years, I've been a Chief Digital Data Marketing and Innovation Officer. And as I think about this, and leading AI practices since about 2016, and I've seen a lot of shifting and changing in terms of technology and behavior over this period of time. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today to set the stage for our conversation. So as we look out, we've all been a part of this massive AI explosion over the last 24 months. Anyone out there not using any form of AI or generative AI? Anybody? It's a safe space. It's okay. Yes? Yes? No? Interaction? All right. We're all good. So as we think about this, we don't really ever stop and think about the behavioral reason for the why. Why are we so open now to adopting intelligent systems? And I've done research across every single generational cohort. And what I can tell you, the core underlying reason for the why is ease and convenience. If you think about that it makes a lot of sense. With the rise of the GPT architect, with the transformer architecture that allowed us to really take and move forward, so you see this explosion of large language models. But when we bring it back into the enterprise, ease and convenience doesn't necessarily just apply to us as individuals. It also applies now to how we're applying AI and AI-based solutions within the enterprise. We have to think about creating frictionless user experiences. We have to think about the efficiency gains that are created in terms of streamlining daily tasks. We have to think about the cultural impact. My associate Hugh Bergen, who's in the audience here, mentioned yesterday that most of the time, technology in these specific situations works incredibly well. What doesn't always is the cultural adoption of the system. So simplicity to adoption in terms of the daily task is key. The fourth thing that we have to consider, and probably the most important, and it's foundational for what Dora and I are going to talk about today, it's really about scalability through simplicity. This is all about AI-ready data. This is making sure that as an organization, we've set the correct foundation to enable any specific capabilities and experiences moving forward. That's a key component. The last area is really around your customer experience, whether it's for your consumer, whether it's your customer, like for Keurig Dr. Pepper. The expectation that we have, both behaviorally and also all of us using these specific tools, there's an expectation now within organizations that we're using these specific tools. So this is just a bit of a primer to set the stage for the conversation that Dora and I are going to have today. And with that, I want to just welcome to the stage Dora Cortinez. She is the Data and Analytics and AI Leader for Keurig Dr. Pepper. Let's give Dora a big hand.
Thank you.
All right. Dora, just thank you so much for joining me today on stage.
Thank you for having me.
It's so fantastic. It's great to see you. It's great to see so many friendly faces out in the crowd. And I wanted to start. Let's learn a little bit more about you specifically and your role within Keurig Dr. Pepper.
So I've had a lot of great opportunities and experiences that have led me here right now to this stage at this very moment as the leader for enterprise data and analytics at Keurig Dr. Pepper. I've had the opportunity to work in multiple industries, retail, restaurant, distribution, and now CPG. So very exciting to be in this organization. And I've had experiences across those industries in leading business outcomes by enabling technology. And those technologies include ERP, data warehousing, I've led a digital transformation in partnership with our commercial organization in the largest alcohol and wine beverage distributor in North America, and have led master data management initiatives. So very excited to bring all those experiences together in this role.
No, it's been incredible to work with you, and I've had the just incredible opportunity to work with the Keurig Dr. Pepper team over the last 16 months or so as we've gone on this comprehensive AI journey. And one of the core things is I've worked across a number of clients and with Dr. Pepper. There's a specific theme that's consistent across the organizations that are creating real value within their organizations, and that's having a strong vision to start. Setting the North Star and establishing this path towards scalability has been absolutely critical. So I wanted to start there with you. Let's talk about your vision for AI and data and enabling the enterprise.
So the vision that I have is really working very closely with a lot of the amazing data and analytical leaders across the BUs at Keurig Dr. Pepper. And the goal is to enable them with scalable, reusable, and trusted AI-ready data capabilities that will enable the business outcomes across multiple value streams, whether it's engaging better with our consumers, whether it's driving supply chain optimization, or even improving our commercial and operations effectiveness. The goal is to enable data-driven decision-making within all the value streams and foster a culture of collaboration, agility, and innovation, which are really imperative to survive in a digital-first world.
Absolutely. So let's dive into some of those core tenets that you've talked about. Let's talk a little bit about the culture side. That's such a critical piece. You know, I know you're a big proponent of establishing a foundation for self-service, data literacy across the organization. Why don't you touch a little bit on the cultural side?
Yeah, there's a few key elements to the vision, and one of them is empowerment. And in today's data decision-making world, right, where data is imperative, especially to AI, generative AI, it's really critical to really allow everyone in the organization to use and leverage the data. And one of the things that we've just rolled out an MVP, a minimum viable product on, which we're very excited about, is our marketplace, where we are allowing our team members across the organization to search and request access to a series of data assets that have been created. They can search on KPIs, the definition of those KPIs or performance measures. They can look up the business rules that generate those KPIs. That allows consistency in terms of the use of the data across the organization. An integral part of that as well is to increase our data literacy, which is what you mentioned. So we also have a university that we've created that's accessed through this marketplace. And we want to build the technical skills so folks can learn how to use data visualization tools. They can learn how to use Python or SQL or whatever it is that they need to truly enhance their job. And we're also teaching non-technical skills. So for example, storytelling with data, right? That's a very important skill set. It's one thing to be able to analyze it, but you don't want to bog down when you're presenting that. You want to be able to create a very impactful data visualization. You want to be able to tell a great story and be concise to influence the outcomes, right? And so that university also launched, and we're very excited about that as well. I can keep talking about other elements. Another element that is really critical is cross-collaboration across the organization. Breaking silos down and bringing some amazing data leaders across the different BUs and functions, right? They've all been fantastic partners. We meet on a regular basis. They guide the strategy for our data and analytics within Keurig Dr. Pepper. We meet regularly, monthly. They're helping us define and own a lot of the data that is being put inside our insights platform as well, which is integral and key. Another major element of the vision is really having a data as an asset mindset, right? It's really important that, and I alluded to that that we have individuals that own the data that we bring in as the foundation for a lot of the AI and Gen AI work that we're doing. And we're creating data stewards, data owners, really implementing data governance, right, across the organization. And we're doing that iteratively and little by little. It is a cultural mindset, right, that has to shift. And that goes to another integral part, which you've alluded to as well, which is the cultural component. Another element that is really important is a data product architecture, right? Building the right foundation to enable artificial intelligence is integral. In the past, the organization has done amazing work historically around building data analytics capabilities, but it was done project by project, right? And so as you look at our ecosystem, there's a lot of duplicated tables, right? There's an opportunity to create synergies and create really a single data ecosystem that is connected, right? And drives those efficiencies. So that data product architecture that's multi-layered, source data hitting data domains, hitting data products, that ultimately is where our models sit on top of and our data visualizations sit on top of, is an integral component. Another valuable element is really real-time decision making and enabling that. We're starting to look into what that looks like with agentic AI and a few other elements to build operational data stores, right? And we're thinking about doing some POCs in that space. And then another big piece, I alluded to agility, right? You don't want to spend months and months doing something. Building a minimum viable product, iteratively doing that and showing incremental value is a big component of that. And our CIO, John Gigrich, has been a fantastic leader in driving that agile mindset and starting to organize around products, right? And cross-functional product teams to truly drive agile across Keurig.
And you've hit on so many of the key areas there that are really driving success, basically industry-leading success. The cross-team collaboration has been something that's been just incredible to witness in terms of the relationship between the IT function and the different functional areas, whether you're talking about supply chain, commercial, marketing, even R&D. That's been such a key component of it. How you're structuring this kind of foundation to enable each of those specific areas. What we've seen a lot of over the last 12 months is there's been a lot of experimentation, and we'll talk about experimentation in just a moment. Different types of proof of concepts, testing, the whole prioritization process, the governance, how we're operationalizing, all of those things have been foundational, even in standing up an intelligent automation factory. But moving forward, what we're really looking at is how can you drive holistic top-down transformation on a functional level? How can we take and transform the marketing function as a whole, linking together various aspects of first-party data, third-party data, et cetera, whether it's through loyalty, whether it's through the consumer insights piece of that feeding into R&D. So there's so much that's being evaluated. Your key role is really around enabling all of it. So you're the engine, essentially, that's going to help basically all the other functions drive significant value creation. So let's talk a little bit about some of the work that's been done to date. There's been a lot of phenomenal work, whether that's been on supply chain, DSD side, I'll touch a little bit on some of the marketing and the commercial side of things, but over the last 16 months, let's touch a little bit on where value is actually being created, where you're seeing impact being made that's setting the stage for this larger transformation.
So one area that we've worked with, and we have our marketing leader for our coffee business, Becky, who's been a fantastic partner. We've developed a model or an algorithm that helps our consumer care agents. So we get over 1 million calls a year that our agents support, and they take over about 11 minutes each call. And so as our customers call, those agents have to do a lot of research and look across multiple documents and different knowledge repositories to try to find the answer to the issue or the question that our customer has, and then support them and answer that question. So through a model that generates a generative AI model, the model scans multiple sources of information and actually generates an answer that is succinct and very precise to what the issue is that the customer has, So instead of getting an output of a multiple series of articles that they have to click on and read, it basically generates that response for them, and has really impacted and made some amazing benefits and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of efficiencies for our collegians, and has improved the customer experience dramatically.
And that was one of the key drivers that helped to drive the investment in the build out of the factory to begin with. Another area has really been around enabling both the marketing and the commercial side. So there was an accelerator that was pre-built that we presented and began to integrate in, and went from an MVP to from a proof of concept to an MVP state. And over the course of time, it's really built around product descriptions. So essentially, we could take a human created product descriptions enhanced with GPT as well as consumer reviews. That was ultimately tested across 3 different brands. And what we began seeing after the different various A/B testing, we began to see significantly higher conversion rates per retailer, specifically based off of those functions. So that was another core area. Another one that's really close and near and dear to both of us is really this project around kind of this idea around enhanced receipt extraction. There is a loyalty program within Keurig Dr. Pepper, and from this though, we're actually looking at how can we drive better receipt scan, pulling forward the metadata associated with that to feed into the larger strategy that we're looking to pull forward here as well, to enhance not only the targeting piece, potentially even real-time inventory, impacting on the R&D side, and that's known data about an individual. So part of the organization is really actioning a lot on the media side. There's aspirations to kind of drive this even more closely together in a really unified way, to where there's kind of a single workflow that you're able to kind of weave in and out as we're working through this, but all of it enabled by your data structure.
Data structure.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Another great POC that we've done that has really done some really great business value is an optimizer, a model, AI model, that optimizes our factory production scheduling. There's a lot of variables that go into setting up the right schedule for production. There could be materials that expire, labor that doesn't show up, equipment that's either down or has a repair or an R&M scheduled. All of these factors have to go in to setting up the right schedule, and that has really shown a lot of efficiencies and opportunities. And we're actually rolling that across multiple plants as well, and that is a way to optimize our supply chain as well. So
we've talked about a lot of the good, but there's always challenges. We're talking about fundamentally transforming an organization. And from your perspective, what have been some of the challenges for you?
So I would say that there's always challenges. I would say one key challenge is making sure that you write, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, is making sure you have the right data foundation. One of the areas that we're focusing on is our master data, and ensuring that we have the right master data in place across that supports all these data products, especially as you're bringing these together. One key data product that we're building is our retail sales, and where we're combining data from multiple retailers into a single data product. That is supporting not only supply chain inventory, but also could help support some of our marketing campaigns and their effectiveness as well. Having that master data consistent across of those is critical. Another piece is building the AI and assuming that people are going to trust what comes out of those models has been a bit of a challenge as well. We're working with one of our partners on the commercial side, Anthony Park, in building a model around driving improvements around how the orders are done within across our customers to drive customer fill rates. And it's been a little bit of a challenge with some of the account managers who have been counting physically and manually, right? What's in the back room, what's on the shelf, and coming up with what they should order, and trusting that model and saying, no, it's not what you're counting and what you think you're saying, what you're physically seeing. Trust this model and don't override what this is telling you to order. So there's a big focus there in shifting that mindset and educating as to what the value is of these models. But that cultural shift has been a bit of a challenge sometimes as well.
And you've brought up marketing a few times. I'd love for you to take a moment and really, we've talked about the holistic enterprise vision. Let's zero in a little bit on that customer and consumer experience piece. what are your thoughts around how you're going to take and enable that specific function? You're here, you've been embedded with the team here at CES. You've seen a lot of really interesting presentations and experiences.
Yeah, this has been a great experience, and I'm very appreciative that I had the opportunity to be here with our marketing leaders and our team, and excited about evolving the use of data and AI in the marketing space. We have a new CMO, Drew, who's been with us 9 weeks, and he is focused on AI and data. I think that looking at how do we leverage retail media data and other data from our retailers, how do we bring that together with publisher data and our own brand data and have a holistic strategy across all that. How do you bring that into a data clean room, right? And bring all that to have potentially a 360 view of a consumer. I think, finding the right partners in that space, right? Because every partner has a different view of the data, right? And their ability to use that so that we can quilt that together to get a more holistic view of our consumer. I think that's a huge opportunity, and one that I'm excited to partner with our marketing team to really focus on really balancing and driving the right creatives and the right media investments in this space, and really make sure that we have efficient and effective use of our dollars to drive engagement, right? And deepen the loyalty with our brands.
Absolutely. So we have a very diverse audience out here today. Everyone's at different stages in terms of their organization along their journey, whether that's personally, professionally, et cetera, when it comes to AI. So just based on your experience over the last few years, going through this comprehensive, trying to, essentially it's not a speedboat, you're moving an aircraft carrier, and you're getting buy-in every step of the way. How are you, what's some of the just the advice that you would give to individuals who are at various stages of their journey right now?
So I think one of the important things is sometimes we get lost in data for the purpose of data, and it's really important to align the work that you're doing to the right business outcomes and the right value. One of the things that we've done is, instead of taking this philosophy of build it and they will come around our insights, we're truly aligning, aligning with the right priorities with a lot of these leaders, and aligning with them on driving and what are the business metrics and business outcomes and measures, and that's how we're measuring success, right? It's not about data for the purpose of data, and that way you kind of show the value, and the investments will follow, right, in that space. So I think that's an important thing to think about. I think building, collaborating, right? Data can't be a centralized, whether it's in IT or in a different function, it can't be centralized, right? It has to, as I mentioned, you have to democratize that. You want to make sure that individuals in the organization are empowered to leverage the data that's available, and working in a collaborative manner and breaking silos and bringing leaders together, I think is a really key part of being successful in a role like this.
Fantastic. So earlier in the conversation, you mentioned agentic. So we're going to shift a little bit now to the future. Obviously, you're establishing this North Star. A lot of how we've worked together is to make sure there's a foundation and a path towards scalability. So thinking about agentic moving forward. So let's talk about, I'd love your perspective on the future of AI within Keurig Dr. Pepper and then beyond.
I think we want to start moving, especially as we start working in with our marketing and commercial leaders around more predictive analytics, and looking at not perhaps what I think I'm going to sell, but what truly should be that target for the sales forecast, and bringing data together to try to do that, whether it's campaign data, media, like as I mentioned, all these different party data, to try to forecast that. And the goal here, and I think Nirvana, is to try to have an end-to-end series of outcomes. So for example, I'm spending my marketing dollars in the right place targeting the right consumer, but bringing in data that says that I can distribute effectively to that area, right? So I'm not spending dollars on marketing to someone where I can't get the product to them in a cost-effective manner. Then I can then make sure that I'm placing the right orders, and that consumer is able to find that product. So it's going to be frustrating if I market to you and that product can't get to you, right? So I can go to the shelf, whether it's digital or physical, and I'm going to find that product there. And I can make that product in a timely manner. So I'm also helping supply chain with their demand forecasting as well. So I think that holistic sense of ability to connect all that with data and drive that cross-functionally, I think would be a fantastic North Star to get to.
No, absolutely. And you know, from a future perspective, part of how I've kind of really worked over the last, I'd say 20 years is also kind of as a little bit as a futurist. So how I think about the future of AI. Right now, we're really focusing in on agentic workflows, using large language models as the brain to train the specific agent, systemic prompting to make sure that you're establishing the guidelines to set the path forward for how it's all going to work. That is a core foundational way in which we're driving transformation. As you begin to really look even a little bit further out, that starts leading into basically AI native workforces, where it's a seamless intersection between the agents enabling us as individuals as we work each and every day. One of the really kind of transformational elements that I see, especially around agentic, is even how we're going to potentially even license software. Today, we license a software for a specific user. In the very near future, a number of third parties are going to be offering pre-trained agents as a pathway. So you're actually going to be renting agents to help drive and transform certain functions within your organization. And the thing that I'm really looking at, even if you even take it a step further in terms of where we're looking at the future, it really then becomes around kind of the whole concept and idea of causal AI. Right now, everything, all of the machine learning models, everything that we focus on is built around correlation and really trying to add this level of real world complexity when we're thinking about how we're interacting with the world, the multiple layers and the levels, the causality and the interventional data that's associated with that to help the models to understand the how to truly enable us as individuals, going back to the idea of ease and convenience. That's such a key critical component that we're really looking at. Here's a very practical example for you. Today, when you think about how a model might think, you have an umbrella. And the model may think, I have an umbrella, so that means the umbrella is what causes the rain, based on how it's thinking and how it's learning, versus how we as humans think about it. This umbrella is actually we have it because we know it may rain. So as we're looking at continuing to enable the things to remember, even with agentic, how you train the specific agents and the data associated with that specific training, the data structures from a graph and ontology perspective to start building the relationships associated with that are all key. How you're going to establish kind of the systemic prompting of that, basically how are the interactions going to be happening across each of those specific agents. So as we think about that, and then foundationally bringing it back to everything that you're doing, I love the fact that you're thinking about this holistically across function and starting with the AI-ready data component. You know, Tracy Gusher, who's here, is always saying it's about the data. Like that's what it is. You're going to spend more time focusing on that to enable everything else. But in order to reach that realized state that we all want to get to, again, we cannot forget the whole idea of ease and convenience as that core driver behaviorally. All of the complexity that you mentioned on the back end is going to translate to a frictionless user experience on the front end. It may be a single prompt that's able to pull across the different functions that pulls all of these elements together. So as we think about the evolution of work, how we work, and you know, the number one fear across all of our UI research within organizations is not will AI replace you, it's someone using the tools will. So you add that layer plus this kind of onslaught of agents, or I believe Tracy mentioned it was RPA on steroids yesterday. You know, adding these kind of agents into the fold, I think is just the next step in the evolution of what we're going to see over the course of the next few years. And I'm excited to go on this journey with you. So this has been
it's going to be exciting.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Any closing thoughts for the audience?
Yeah, I think that the beauty of AI and where it's headed, whether it's artificial intelligence or Gen AI, is not looking backwards, but looking forward, right? And really future-proofing the organization in a way. And I think that that's kind of that next level, right, of leveraging this. And then I'm excited to take this to the next level with all the partners that I've been working with at Keurig Dr. Pepper. And I think that you know, it's gonna be an exciting next 2 or 3 or 4 years here.
It definitely is. Strategically, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't forget to give a shout out to Shri Sharma, who's my partner in crime here, working with you as well as we're thinking about AI and data strategy moving forward. We have a few minutes left, so we may take 1 or 2 questions from the audience for Dora. So I wanted to give the organizers just the prep to get the microphone ready in case there are any. If anyone does have a question, please raise your hand and we'll be happy to get a microphone to you. And if not, I'll ask a question. What's been the most interesting thing you've seen so far at CES while we're waiting for the...
So it's interesting. I just came from the floor this morning, and one of the things that it's all about looking at, yeah, that's interesting. How might that apply to our business, right? Even though it may not be an exact match. But there was an interesting technology where they have a camera that scans multiple faces and multiple what's happening in the audience and in a group of people, and generates images, right? Or you can make it a cartoon, and it literally looks like you, right? And it's an amazing concept to potentially apply to generating content and creative for our marketing teams, because the pace of how we have to create content and creative is amazing today, right? As we start looking at data-driven digital advertising, right, which is a huge opportunity in this space. So very cool. Have you been to the floor? Or?
I have, yeah. I've seen a few things. It's always interesting coming year over year. You know, AI has been everywhere now for the last 10 years here. So that's, you know, as a lot of my friends here in the front row can definitely advocate for. What I'm always looking for, though, is I'm always looking for what are those experiences that can not only add value for us as whether it's a marketer or whether it's efficiency here or whether it's in, you know, a retail center, whatever it is. I'm always looking at what's going to continue to expand the modalities in which we work. So beyond desktop and mobile, voice, vision, touch, our environment adapting to us versus us adapting to it. So much of that now is predicated on like intelligent systems to drive that forward. You know, we've gone through a number of waves of technological evolution over the past few years. You know, we've gone from everything from Web3 to the metaverse to this. Now it's all about AI. There's this intersection and convergence of technologies that's happening. So it's not necessarily about one specific technology, but it's about how are all these interrelated, and ultimately what's the data that's being created from each of these to enhance the experiences as we think about how our physical environments are going to continue to basically change over the course of the coming years. So as an individual who works with data, as an individual who is, you know, incredibly interested in the evolution of AI, it's a lot of fun to try to figure out, you know, and determine the next steps, but also at the same time enable just an incredibly large organization. So
yeah, part of I think what the opportunities too is using AI to create data.
Yes.
So,
yeah, the synthetic data piece is key. Yes.
Yeah, that synthetic data, and that's something that, especially for us, for example, we have a gap sometimes in, we Oh, there it is.
There it is, okay.
We have a lot of rich data from our larger customers, like the Walmarts, the Krogers, but the small convenience stores, right, and those smaller convenience stores, it's a gap for us, and there's a lot of buying that's going on at that level. So being able to use AI to generate data and some of the synthetic data by using some of the actual data that we have access to, I think it's going to be interesting as well in terms of...
It has, but yeah, it has. One of our clients is actually using synthetic data around the development of personas and the validation of specific personas. As we're looking at kind of crafting this personalization engine, taking in all of these attributes using kind of a graph data structure. And it's been very interesting to see, because in this case, this particular instance is the creation of a digital twin based off of synthetic data and product recommendations. But in other instances, it really is in support of the marketing function. We're taking elements that are known about a group or a cohort of individuals, crafting and creating kind of a synthetic entity
Right.
that then you can begin A/B testing against that specific interaction to see what type of messaging will resonate as a precursor to actually launching a campaign. So it's so interesting to see everything that can be done.
Yeah, it really is. It's very so that's also an opportunity for us and a future plan
Absolutely.
for us as well to continue to expand our AI capabilities. So.
All right. Well, if there are no questions, are there any questions before we depart? Did I see anything? No? All right. Well, Dora, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today and sharing your insights with the crowd. Everybody, please give Dora just a phenomenal round of applause.
Thank you. And thank you for your partnership.
Thank you.
And I look forward to continuing to work. You guys have been a great partner.
Thank you so much, Dora. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Well, that was interesting. How they're going to implement AI through Dr. Pepper. Okay, thank you for joining. I'll come back in 5 minutes with another keynote. Donc, je reviens dans 5 minutes.